剣を抜いて冒険の世界へ。ファンタジック RPG ルナシルバースターストーリー。ルナー。
Welcome back to Breaking the Backlog, the only YouTube series that's published more frequently than a game in the Lunar franchise. Alright, story time. I was reorganizing my GBA drawer, that thing that's under my desk that's basically a shrine to games that I swore I'd play all the way back in 2004, and there it was, Lunar Legend, looking all smug in its little cartridge form like, hey, remember me? I'm the Game Boy version of one of the greatest JRPGs of all time! And I said, no way this actually holds up. And then I played it. Y'all, this game is wild. Nothing bad, nothing amazing, just wild. It tries to cram an entire 3 discs worth of game into a cartridge that's barely big enough to hold an incredibly compressed copy of Shrek for the GBA video. And somehow it manages to actually do it? If you've already watched my retrospective on the first 2 Lunar games, then you probably have an understanding about how I feel about this franchise. The heartfelt writing, the story, the characters, the drama, it's JRPG comfort food at its finest. And of course I have to bring up Golden Sun again just to remind everyone that the GBA was home to some of the best JRPGs of all time. Lunar Legend is, for lack of a better term, a bite-sized Game Boy Advance remake of Lunar Silver Star Story Complete. But calling it a remake feels as genuine as calling a microwave freezer burrito Mexican cuisine. It's got the same ingredients, sure, but they've been squished, reheated, and lost a lot of its spice along the way. Heck, they had to cut out a bunch of time from the overall completion. Somehow, Lunar Silver Star Story Complete comes in around 30 hours, while Legend sneaks in under 20. If you look at the chart on the screen, I can reflect on some of the differences. For example, Silver Star Story Complete had anime cutscenes, while Legend has still images. Silver Star Story Complete had CD quality audio, Legend had MIDI beeps. Silver Star Story Complete has grid-based combat movement, Legend said, nah, and they went turn-based instead. And Legend, bless its tiny GBA heart, really tried to keep the soul of the story intact, but we'll get to that. Part 1, the story. So here's the good news. The main story of Lunar Legend is still very much the story of Alex, a kid with a dream of becoming a dragon master. You've still got your bestie Luna, your talking winged cat Nal, your brash magician buddy Nash, and a world full of dragons, magic emperors, and boss fights that have as much strategy as counting to 3. Alex and the crew's adventure start with a quick visit to an ornery dragon, and quickly spirals into something much larger, as Alex is drawn into battle against the corrupt magic emperor. Spoiler alert, none other than Galleon, one of the legendary 4 heroes. Along the way, Alex and the party uncover ancient secrets, awaken powerful dragons, and fight to stop Galleon from using Luna, revealed to be the human incarnation of the goddess Althena, to reshape the world in his twisted vision. With friendship, courage, and a whole lot of random encounters, Alex rises to become the new Dragon Master, defeats Galleon, and frees Luna from her fate, proving that even the most humble beginnings can lead to legendary endings. But the execution, let's just say it's more of a greatest hits compared to the Brandon Sanderson-esque novel that is Lunar Silver Star Story Complete. Nash joins the party way earlier than in Silver Star Story Complete. The White Dragon Cave? Completely gone. You just meet Quark in the middle of the woods and move on. The Goddess Festival in Berg gets a little more focused, but dungeons and trials get cut or streamlined entirely. Emotional beats are still there, but they just don't hit as hard. Think of it like watching your favorite movie at 1.5 times speed with the soundtrack missing. Part 2, Exploration. Exploration in the world of Lunar Legend is fine. The towns are colorful, the sprites are adorable, and it feels like a portable RPG should. But it's also very safe. There's no exploration on the overworld map, a la Golden Sun. You go from place to place, talk to people, and occasionally get some insider chatter that adds flavor. But don't expect hidden caves or crazy travel mechanics. It's very point A to point B, and if you're coming off of something like Eternal Blue, it feels weirdly restrictive. What I love about Silver Star Story Complete is that it gives the players a classic RPG sense of world building and scale, rewarding curiosity and allowing a little freedom in how you approach the game's journey. It may be something that's incredibly normal in the modern era of gaming, but it's always appreciated when it shows up in these older titles. Legend, on the other hand, is more like a guided tour, efficient and trimmed down, but without the same sense of discovery or openness. Great for a quick playthrough, but less rewarding if you love to explore. Part 3, Combat. Okay, this is where things get weird. If you're already accustomed to Lunar's strategic grid-based battles, prepare to be disappointed. Lunar Legend goes full ham on the turn-based original Final Fantasy style of combat. And while it's serviceable, it's also incredibly basic. Random battles are frequent. Like, oh no, I blinked and I'm in combat again, frequent. But enemies aren't that tough, so most battles either become a button-mashing chore or a long walk to the nearest level up. You can use the auto-battle command like the original game, with your characters just smacking whatever enemy owes them lunch money that day, or plan a singular strategy using the tactics menu. Enemies do drop items like mental gum, but they can also drop, well, we'll talk about that in another section. Part 4, Collectibles and Crafting. Oh hey look, it's this section that we're gonna talk about that. Yeah, so there's not a ton to talk about here. Well, I guess I lied. No Magnus cards, no synthesis items, no weird alchemy system that summons a genie and makes weapons, armor, food, you know who you are. Drops from enemies do include a little something fun though, outside of your standard healing items. You can get cards as drops. But again, not like Magnus cards, they have no real use. Each card represents a character, an event, an item, or a monster from the game, acting like a mini digital trading card collection. And they're cool, but you don't really do anything with them. And since the Game Boy Advance version is already trimmed down a lot in the cinematic presentation, the card system is a way to give players something extra. Almost like a built-in trophy system or a scrapbook. It added a very small dose of replay value and helped to highlight Lunar's rich character and enemy design without needing voice acting or anime cutscenes. There's also some extra stuff in the gallery, but again, due to the limitations of the Game Boy Advance, they are passable, I guess. Part 5, the extras. Lunar Legend does sneak in a few neat extras. For starters, Null gets a brand new skill called Althena that heals your party outside of combat once for every time you visit an Althena statue. Which is neat, though wildly unbalanced. Some story scenes are tweaked or rearranged. Kyle, for example, is never drunk in this version. I guess the ESRB came down a little bit too hard on that drunken fuckboy energy. And Galleon, he's still menacing, but simplified.
Time to die.
So, is Lunar Legend actually a bad game? No, not at all. It's just radically different than what came before. It's Coors Silver Star Light. All the flavor, half the depth. And probably less calories too. And honestly, that's kind of impressive for a Game Boy Advance game. I mean, it's not like I've ever put one in my mouth before. Oh. If you're new to the series, I would still recommend starting with Lunar Silver Star Story Complete. It's the full-fat, fully voiced, fully animated experience. But if you want that quick, nostalgic dip into one of the greatest hits of Silver Star Story Complete, then yeah, Legend is definitely worth your time. Just make sure you have something to listen to in the background. The Game Boy Advance sound chip tries its best. And it does not succeed.